Hey guys, Jesse here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the HG RX-78 GE Gundam EX open parentheses RFV close parentheses. Yeah, say that 10 times real quick. Basically the Gundam from the Netflix show. So yeah, it's been a while, and yeah, I don't know. Today I'm here with a new Gundam review and a new build, obviously. So basically, I decided I felt like watching some Gundam, and for whatever reason, I decided to watch the Netflix exclusive CG one. I don't know. It looked kind of interesting. It really wasn't that bad. It was okay. Like the most solid 5 out of 10. The voice acting was terrible, though. I will say that. But we're not talking about the anime today, or anime, quote unquote. We are talking about the kit, this HG. And I remember when this thing was announced, it really tempted me to get back into building, but I was busy at the time, and etc. etc. Wasn't really feeling it, but now I really felt it, and I should have felt it before because this HG is incredible. Maybe besides the HG Barbatos, this might be the best HG I've ever built, or really have had my hands on. It might actually be better than the Barbatos, but I think that mainly comes from the fact that, you know, it was a Netflix exclusive show, so maybe some of that Netflix money bled over to Bandai, who decided we're gonna make this the best thing ever. I say Bandai, but you know, we really knew who told them to make it good. But I digress. Whatever the case is, it doesn't matter. Whether or not this had Netflix money behind it for the engineering development of the kit, I don't care, because this kit is really, really good. Unfortunately, we may not see a master. I sincerely hope we see a master grade of this thing, because it would be like spectacular. But considering the show didn't do incredibly well, I don't know if that's going to happen. But hey, never say never. Anyways, I've babbled on a little too much about the show. Let's actually talk about the kit. So this isn't a straight build, obviously. I have done some weathering to it. Just did my light normal weathering, painted some of the piston details and the piping details. This kit has a whole like myriad of inner frame. It doesn't have an inner frame, but it looks like it does because the details are so nice. And you just can't help but want to punch some of those details in. So that's what I did. And then I threw on some weathering, powders, some streaking, and just top coated it. So overall, again, this is probably the best HG I've ever built. It has some issues, but if you like the design, you think it's super cool, definitely just go and grab this. It's an easy build. It's a little fragile, as we'll see in a second here, but it's just so cool looking, in my opinion, that you can't really pass it up. So let's bring it in closer and we'll talk more about it. So here it is, nice and up close. So overall, the look and the design of this Gundam, I think, is just great. I think everything in that show, in terms of the mobile suit designs, were really good. So I mean, it, taste is subjective, but I think at least everyone agreed that the mobile suit design in the show was good, even if the show itself wasn't great. Anyways, this kit, as you can see, just has a ton of detail, and the color separation is almost on a real grade level, where we've got two different shades of gray all over. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep the focus here. And it also comes with some really nice decals. All those little like pinstripes and such, that's all decals. They're stickers, yeah, but it's a good amount. It's not overly done. Some of them do come on curved surfaces, like this one on the back, but I would say it's well worth it for this sort of real mobile suit look, which I really, really dig. The Gatling gun here, I painted the barrels like a metallic gunmetal, so there's that. The one thing I would say about this Gundam and its proportions and everything in the design, and this is something that someone commented on, and now I can't unsee, is that the arms are really long. They're like, the whole Gundam is kind of lanky, despite looking very mechanical and bulky. It's kind of skinny, right? And then the arms being skinny and long makes it look kind of disproportionate. And then the shoulders being small also doesn't really help it there. Once you start posing it and bending the arms, it really doesn't look like that. But if you just have it standing there, it's kind of hard to unsee. The arms, like if he had his hands splayed out, the fingertips would be past his knees, which is just wrong. Anyways, in terms of stickers, that little number 5 there is for the crotch. All it has are 2 little yellow triangles. I didn't even paint them in because, I mean, why? I didn't even know the Gundam had it, and you don't see it in the show. There is a sticker for the camera. Then you have 3 eye options, which is pretty interesting because one of the unique looks of the mobile suits in the shows, they kind of have lines separating parts of their eyes. I went ahead and painted the gray part in there as well as the eyes a metallic red. I didn't do the little kind of break up in the eyes. I don't know, I just didn't feel the need to do it, but you do get stickers there. It's pretty normal for an HG. Then you get 2 yellow stickers, one for the beam rifle and one for the shield for the EFSF emblem, which clearly I didn't use, I painted those. So yellow stickers, always annoying because you wish they would just make a yellow part because painting yellow is a nightmare. But I would say in terms of, one last one, which is probably what you noticed, the stickers missing here. Those go on the side skirts. There's a little like red stripe detail that frankly would be too small for a part for an HG. I actually understand that. So I went ahead and used those stickers because I didn't feel like painting it, but honestly, you could probably just leave those out. They're over here in the skirt there, as you can see. So again, the build on this thing was real simple. It doesn't have an inner frame, even though many of its gray parts have the detail of a full inner frame. For example, let's see if I can focus on here. I mean, you can just see on the arms here, like on the wrists, there's a lot of greebling going on. If I can spread his torso a bit, you can see there's like piping. I painted that pipe in there, but there's piping going on even under here. We spread them a little. You're not going to be able to see, but even in the crotch area, the waist, there's quite a lot of detail. You know, typical older HGs or even some modern HGs, they'll just have big flat surfaces for their exposed frame parts, which always looks very clashing with the armor, especially if the armor isn't flat and actually has some panel lines. But this one, again, I mean, this looks like a little, it looks like a little master grade. It doesn't, it's not built like one, but it looks like a little master grade. I wouldn't say it's of the meticulous little small details of a real grade. I don't really would want it to be because I don't really like real grades, and that's just a personal preference. But yeah, again, very impressed with this thing. Have to assume they made it the best they can because they got a whole lot of money from Netflix. That's my guess. Anyways, you know me, I don't really like to talk about articulation. As you can see, I'm handling this thing kind of delicately because it is a little loose. The legs are especially kind of loose. I think mainly because, again, since it's such a lanky Gundam, there's not a lot of surface area for these joints to meet, so they're a little finicky. But I will talk a little bit about the articulation because this thing is incredible, again, with the articulation. The head has like a double joint, so it moves real well. The waist, actually, you kind of saw a little bit of it, but it separates there to allow it to lean forward quite a lot. And then it can also lean side to side real well. And there's more detail under here, which is kind of hard to see, but they molded it in. The arms are kind of interesting. So it actually has like a ball joint in the shoulder with some nice shoulder inner details there. And I have to assume that's only to allow the arm to go all the way across his shoulder here, because he grabs his beam sabers back here, which also articulate. Those come forward and he grabs them like that. Now he can't quite get all the way back there. I mean, he can get really close, but I have to assume that's why they built that in there, on top of just having nice articulation. The only problem I have with the arms here is that because the shoulder armor isn't separate, it can't, when you're trying to get a nice strong pose, you want your shoulders to make like a V shape, but because these are directly attached, the arms are going with it, so he ends up kind of doing this, right? His arms are all spread, so then you're like, okay, I'm gonna bring the arms in, but now the shoulders are drooping. So it's a bit of a dance here to try to get that in a nice, at least neutral pose. But again, if you want a real strong pose, you want those shoulder armor pieces to be kind of a V. And so because they're not separate, you can't do that. So it's, yeah, a little annoying. The legs can go wherever. I mean, the skirt armor is so small that they're not really a hindrance whatsoever. And they can bend a full 180 for the most part. Enough to let you do what you need to do. Again, really nice detail in the knees there. One weird thing about the hips is that it has one of those like double universal joints, but it also can do this. Again, kind of hard to see in the light there. Yeah, but it kind of, I'm not exactly sure what that serves. I think maybe to allow it to kneel better or something. I don't really know. It doesn't really affect anything, so I'm not going to complain too much, but it's just kind of odd. The feet are real good too. I wish this was a double jointed foot so we could get it pointed straight down, but it can go forward really far, which is real nice. This thing pretty much spends all its time in the show on Earth. The show is completely on Earth. There's no space scenes, so it's never in space, which is unfortunate because it looks, I mean, it's like a white and gray Gundam and usually, or mobile suit. And usually when mobile suits are white and gray, they're usually always in space. So this not being in space is just weird. Something about the build I should mention is back here on the backpack, and that is the beam saber attachment here and the Gatling gun attachment there are really, really small, and I ended up having to glue them in because they'll snap in, but it's not a very definite snap. So I would suggest gluing those in. Otherwise, they're just going to continuously fall out, especially the beam saber connection. Anyways, 3 beam sabers, which is super cool, and they can articulate that way. And this, again, you saw earlier, comes forward so he can grab them. Well, theoretically, thrusters move up and down. Yep, there we go. The Gatling gun, super cool. I love shoulder mounted armaments on anything, Gundam, mobile suit, whatever. It, as you can see, moves up and down just like this. Now, the little connection for it to do that is incredibly weak. You move it up and down like twice, and now it's, yeah, doing that. I'm highly considering gluing it. I'll be honest, just gluing it in a forward shooting pose because it uses the shit out of this gun in the anime. I mean, or the show, whatever you want to call it. So it's rarely tucked away like that. So this thing here, the bandolier, great. See what I'm saying? It's just not great. And it can swivel. Fuck you. It can swivel this way. It's a little stiff for my paint, but it can do it. This bandolier here is a rubber piece. I really, really wish it was not. I get why they did it. It's to allow this thing to have a little more freedom of movement, especially when you swivel it. But a couple of things. First off, I wasn't sure if using my paints on it would mess it up, so I only used water-based washes and weathering on it. And I suggest you do the same because I have no idea what paint thinner would do to it. It's like a very soft rubber. It's not the same material as polycaps, and it's just something I haven't seen before. I'm going to assume it's rubber. I'll say it again. Anyways, the other reason is I don't really like it being white. I understand that it's just a case for the bullets, and the actual like bandolier part is inside there, and it is white in the show, but I think it looks odd. I would have really liked to repaint it like gray or something. But if we're talking about being show accurate, it was white. And design accurate, it is white. So that's just a personal preference thing for me. But also because it's a different material, it's like an entirely different white than the rest of this, which I'm assuming it's actually supposed to be like this gray and not white. So you may consider, when you go to panel line it, again, use a water-based black wash to kind of darken it up a bit. I would suggest doing that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. All right, for the accessories, you get the 2 hands on them. I really don't like them. I don't like HG hands where it's just the fingers with the top part of the hand armor on there. It always looks pretty bad. We don't have any closed fists or anything, but that's fine because the other hand you get is the one I will be using, which is the trigger finger. Thank God it's not like some of the cheaper HGs where it just slots into one of those open hands. So a proper trigger finger is nice, and you can't tell that it is also just fingers with armor on it. The beam rifle is cool. It's kind of like a mix of Amuro's like classic beam rifle mixed with a little bit of MS Ground Team mixed with a little bit of like newer age Gundam. So I like it. I think it's a cool design. It's a little sad. It's only like 2 colors. Even canonically, it's only like 2 colors, but it's fine. The camera here, again, that's where one of the stickers would go in. I painted it. Unfortunately, it doesn't move. It only stays in one spot, which is kind of a bummer, but I believe also in the show it doesn't move either. And then it has a little attachment point here to attach on the back skirt. Unfortunately, it doesn't really go on there super well because it actually bumps into the torso here, if that's the connection point there. If you put it on there, I'm not going to fully attach it, but you can see that the camera bumps into that thruster, so you're going to have to move that thruster out the way. So your thrusters will always be kind of up, you know, because you'll match the other one. So that's not great, and that is how it's supposed to go on there. I suppose you could put it upside down, but it would look a little odd. So, and obviously holds the beam rifle just fine, and fortunately the wrist is just a peg. The wrists on this guy, you may have saw earlier, they move like this, but they also have a wrist bend there. So no need for a ball joint in my opinion, and ball joints are usually pretty weak. So I'm glad they went with just the peg, and it's a pretty beefy peg too. Anyways, that's the beam rifle. And the gray parts here are like a metallic gray that I painted. The gray parts on here usually come in like the inner frame gray, so give you an idea. Then you get the shield. Pretty cool shield. It's a little lackluster in its design, I would say, but it's nice. Again, the yellow on there is supposed to be a sticker. I painted it. I would suggest doing the same. It's a pretty horrible sticker. Any sticker that has to go over multiple surfaces as one sticker, especially if the surfaces are sharp, not going to be a fun time. The way he holds this is with one of those hands, obviously, and it's a real snug fit, and it's nice that it's a sort of like rectangular connection, so it's not flopping around. And the shield is light enough that he can hold it real well. The thing is, once you clip that hand onto this handle, good luck taking it apart. I did it once, and I'm going to do it again, and it's going to always have its shield after that, because you've got to like put the hand on there and then slip that hand armor under there and clip it together, and then yeah, it's kind of a pain, but it's not the end of the world. Anyways, yeah, cool shield. I highly considered when painting this thing and doing the custom on it to do a battle damage, because I mean, in the show, it's a very grounded show with lots of bullets flying and lots of explosions and everything's dirty. But I don't know, there's so many bullets hit this thing and hit that thing, but there are never any bullet holes. And yeah, obviously that was probably just a constraint of the animation. But I don't know. I'm glad, I'm happy with what I went with here. Just a nice weathering job. And finally, you get good old beam sabers. You actually get an extra beam saber from the runners because there's duplicates of doubles, so you get an extra beam saber, and of course extra beam saber effect. Now, this is kind of a strange thing to say because what else was I expecting, really? But I'm kind of disappointed that we just got our good old regular SP01 or SP02 runner for these beam sabers, because in the show, the most unique visual effect in the show were the beam sabers. They looked like kind of a bluish purple with pink at the end, but they really gave off this sensation that they were super heated. So I kind of wish these were in like blue or purple, or at least some different color, not just the regular old pink. I mean, it is what it is, and they use the beam saber a lot in the show, so you see it quite often. And to have just your regular old pink ones, kind of boring. But they are what they are. And again, you get an extra one, and of course an extra beam saber effect. So, you know, you can save this for another kit or something, kit bash. And then finally, you get a little connector for an action base that plugs up in his butt, and then that goes onto your regular old action base connector. So yeah, in conclusion, probably the best HD I've ever built, honestly, in terms of articulation, detail, build, design. It's just that good. I sincerely hope there will be a master grade, although I highly doubt it, but if there is, I'll definitely get it. When this thing was announced, I didn't know anything about the Netflix show. I didn't even know it was really happening and stuff like that. But this thing, I saw it and I really wanted it. It was something that really tempted me to get back into building, which didn't happen at the time, but in the end, I guess it got me, right? So here we are, we're back. So I like this thing so much, I actually ordered the Zaku as well, so that will more than likely be the next video you see here, unless I try to knock out some of my backlog in between. If you like the design of this Gundam, I know this thing's been out for a while, but I would still highly recommend getting this guy and adding him to your collection. It's such a nicely detailed kit, good color separation, good part separation, good detail, good articulation. It can just kind of do it all. So I'll end this with some rotating shots, and I just want to say thank you all for watching. If you've been here for a while and have been sticking it out waiting for another review, you guys are the real ones. So genuinely thank you. And for anyone who's been watching my other videos, thank you to you guys as well. So stay tuned. I do plan to do more Gundam stuff. I am back in the mood. So yeah, I will see you all next time. Later.